everyone, and welcome to our patriotic celebration. Some of you may be aware that today, June 14th, is Flag Day. This day commemorates the adoption of the flag of the United States, which happened on June 14th, 1777.
The flag is one of our country's most recognized and treasured symbols. The 13 equal horizontal stripes represent the original 13 colonies. The blue field represents the Union, and there is one star for each of our 50 states. Together, the blue field and the stars remind us that our country is made up of separate states, unique and individual, yet we stand united as one people.
More than any other country in the world, the United States owes its history to many diverse cultures and people, from the Native Americans to the Europeans, who eventually settled here. Each group has left a lasting imprint on the fabric of our country. The land was rich and diverse, and as settlers began moving across the continent, they discovered the bounty each region offered.
The New England states. The Appalachian Mountain chain, which runs from Alabama all the way north to Canada, dominates the topography of New England. Almost all New England states have land bordering the ocean. Fishing and sailing have been a staple of New England life for hundreds of years. The New England states are Connecticut, Maine, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Rhode Island, and Vermont.
The Mid-Atlantic states. Every Mid-Atlantic state sits, at least on some part, on the Piedmont Plateau and the Atlantic coastal plains. The line in which these two regions meet is called the Fall Line because the land there drops sharply. 200 years ago, George Washington chose the point at which the Fall Line crosses the Potomac River for the location of a new federal city. The Mid-Atlantic area includes Delaware, Maryland, New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, and Washington, D.C.
Washington, D.C., where Rebecca Kai Diltwich. On the east bank of the Potomac lies Washington, D.C., the capital of our nation, which stands for liberty.
It's here our U.S. presidents are sworn to command, where the courtly U.S. Capitol and the stately White House stand.
Where patriotic monuments stand haunting in the night, where King proclaims, "I have a dream," and Kennedy's flame burns bright.
It's here in a place called Arlington, where stars and stripes do fly, where silent snow-white tombstones march in rows where heroes lie.
From around the world they come to touch with tears and hushed acclaim, the sleek and sacred granite wall engraved with soldier's name. Washington, D.C., the capital of our nation, which stands for liberty.
The southern states. For geographical purposes, it sometimes makes sense to divide the southern states into three groups. Virginia, North and South Carolina, Georgia, and Florida make up the seaboard states. They all slope down from the Appalachian Mountains to the Atlantic Plain. On the other hand, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, and Arkansas are bottomland enriched by the annual flooding of rivers such as the Mississippi. Finally, Tennessee, Kentucky, and West Virginia sit atop the rugged Appalachian highlands.
The Everglades by Diane Seifert. How beautiful the Everglades with dappled sunlight playing upon the tall, sharp-edged blades of sawgrass singing and swaying.
As water trickles, seeps and weaves, its slow dark currents flowing, amid the hemlocks lush with leaves that seek the sunshine glowing.
Bald cypress stands with knobby knees, the palms rise tall and slender. The rootless airplanes cling to trees, while ferns spread out in splendor.
A home to gators, deer, and snails, to egrets sleek and snowy, to cast claws and cincture scales, and spoonbills pink and showy.
A place that feels the summer rains, a place of marsh and night, a place whose wintertime terrains give way to drought and fire.
And where the Everglades meet the sea, a salty marsh of grasses, the mangroves standing tree to tree, spread roots in tangled masses.
But now, as humankind invades, constructing, draining, clearing, the vital, living Everglades weep softly, disappearing.
The Midwestern states. During the last ice age, huge glaciers covered nearly all of the Midwest. Like unfrozen water, these glaciers flowed, if very slowly. Their movement had the same effect as a giant bulldozer, flattening the land and leaving behind a thick layer of mixed clay and stone called hill. The Midwestern states are Iowa, Indiana, Illinois, Michigan, Minnesota, Missouri, Ohio, and Wisconsin.
The Gateway Arch by Diane Seibert. It stands, the gateway to the west, an arch of steel shining, with the sunlight glinting off its crest, its silhouette defining. St. Louis and the role it played in settling a nation, a crossroads and a place of trade, amid the great migration. Of settlers traveling westward bound, with dreams enough to carry them over harsh, unbroken ground, to plain and peak and prairie. And now to honor times gone by, and years that lie behind us, the Gateway Arch, whose steel meets sky, stands proudly to remind us.
The Plain States. With no large body of water nearby to moderate the climate, the landlocked states of the Great Plains suffer from the nation's most extreme weather. The summers are hot and dry, the winters are cold and snowy, and the wind blows mightily year-round because of a few natural barriers to block it. The Plain States include Kansas, Nebraska, North Dakota, and South Dakota.
The Plains by Diane Seibert. Land of sunlight, land of storms, formless shapes in shapeless forms, base of grasslands left behind, weathered, wrinkled, creased and lined, cracked by frost and baked by sun, sliced and scarred where waters run.
Tufts of grasses, holding fast, memories of prairies past. Land of sunlight, land of storm, formless shapes and shapeless forms.
Our country kept expanding ever westward, and there were many prosperous years. But careless farming practices and the winds of Mother Nature had a devastating effect on the plains of Midwestern states. The great dust bowl that America's breadbasket became, and the stock market crash of 1929, drove our country into a financial crisis that crippled the United States.
Everyone seemed to be hurting. Artists like Woody Guthrie,